don't talk to them. I don't talk to them boys that sat on the bench before. I was in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. Put me in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. And I'ma lead them boys.
Here's a brief look back at last week's finals.
This podcast is being brought to you by By Any Means Clothing. Make a way out of no way. No excuses. Grind hard every day. The link will be down in the description.
Sports fans, I'm William Carwell. This is Nick Carwell. We're back in the Situation Room. We're going to discuss Week 4's upcoming games, the big showdowns in college football. Of course, I'm sporting my Georgia Southern attire today. No, the Eagles didn't win against Clemson, but they did put up a good fight, and I can bring out my gear again. With that said, we'll go into this week's matchups. Mississippi State giving up 10.5 at Kentucky.
It's a big game in the SEC. Kentucky coming off a win against Florida. I don't know what they did last week, but they beat Florida for the first time in 32 years. And Mississippi State has looked real good. They actually, both teams kind of mirror each other. They both have athletic quarterbacks that are real mobile, can run and pass, good running backs. It can go either way. But I would have to go with Mississippi State in this. I'm going with Nick Fitzgerald. His experience is going to be too much in the SEC.
At Kentucky, of course, the Wildcats will be sky high. Commonwealth Stadium will be rocking. Both teams do like to run the ball, but I look for Mississippi State to shut down Kentucky's run and force them to pass. And I think Mississippi State offense will put up too many points for the Wildcats.
I think Mississippi State defensive line is very underrated. They're really good, and people overlook them in the SEC.
Okay, moving on. Here's Stanford -1.5 at Oregon, which is really a head-up game. Big game on the West Coast.
Definitely. Stanford already has win over USC early this year, so they've been battle tested. Oregon has yet to be that way, but they're playing at home, so I would have to give them the edge in this game. But it's a toss-up. This can go either way. I can't really pick it, but I would have to give the edge to Oregon because they're home.
Oregon will get a little slight advantage being home, but Stanford is battle tested, and I like Bryce Love at quarterback, being able to pull out a close game in the end on the road. Notre Dame -7.5 at Wake Forest.
I don't know much about Wake, but I know Notre Dame can run the ball, they can stop and run, and that's what you have to do to win on the road in today's football. So I'm taking Notre Dame.
Wake Forest could pull off an upset here, the Demon Deacons, but I don't think they have enough firepower on offense to do it. Notre Dame win a close game, I think. TCU at Texas. Texas is a 3-point favorite. This should be a good one.
I'm taking TCU. Texas coming off a big win over USC, which they look dominant pretty much the entire fourth quarter. But until that point of the game, they was dead even. USC was even leading in the game, I believe so. So is Texas really that good, or did they just catch fire and everything went their way in the fourth quarter? We all know how momentum works.
Yeah, TCU lost a very good game to Ohio State last week, and this could go either way. But can they bounce back from an emotional loss and get jacked up for a big game against Texas? Well, being at their in-state rivals, and a lot of these kids know each other, were recruited by the same schools, I think they'll have no problem getting fired up. And I like TCU's offense to pull off the win. Texas A&M at Alabama, -25.5.
That's a lot of points. Kellen Mond has shown that Texas A&M offense can score on the best defenses. They did it against Clemson and came within a 2-point conversion of sending the game in overtime. Alabama's defense is just as good. That's it. But the Alabama's defense might not be as good as Clemson overall, especially not up front. But Alabama's offense is much more explosive than Clemson's, though. So I expect this game to be a shootout. Alabama should win, but that 25.5 isn't. I can't count on that. It's a lot of points to give up.
Alabama is too big in the trenches, too big, too deep, too much talent. Look for the tide to roll, but not by the 25 points. I think, like you said, the mobile quarterback, Kellen Mond, will get a defensive fits, and they will be able to move the ball, but it's in Tuscaloosa. No way they pull off this win. Georgia, -14 at Missouri. Big showdown in the SEC East. Both teams 3-0.
Coming into this season, Georgia's main question mark was replacing the starters on defense, especially in the secondary. Graduating 3 seniors in a secondary is a lot. So far, they've played lights out. They've been just as good as they were last year, if not better at times.
But who has a face that can really sling it around like Drew Lock?
South Carolina was supposed to be that type of team.
They don't have the weapons on the outside.
Missouri only has one big receiver on the outside, Emmanuel Hall.
No,
that's
Drew
their
Lock,
go-to.
he spreads it around.
Maybe. But Emmanuel Hall has almost half of Drew Lock's yards, half of his touchdowns are to Emmanuel Hall. He's a 6'3" receiver. He's a big receiver. So the matchup I want to see is if Georgia will put DeAndre Baker one-on-one with Emmanuel Hall and how that plays out. If they're going to do it the same way they did against South Carolina.
Georgia has had problems this season creating pressure on the quarterback. Kirby Smart says nothing to worry about. They don't worry about the sack stats. They only have 1 sack in 3 games, but they more want to affect the quarterback. They want to get him off his spot and pressure. They consider that just as good as a sack or better. They rather defend the pass than to worry about the sack. But
I disagree with that philosophy, by the way. I totally disagree with that philosophy.
I think if a quarterback on his back, he don't complete minute. That's my philosophy.
Exactly.
But Missouri, interesting stat, has one of the best run defenses in the country at this point, statistically.
Okay.
But is it because their front four is that good, or is everybody passing on them because they're giving up so many yards through the air?
Number one, they haven't played a team with a good nothing yet. The best team they played was Purdue. Do you think high left Purdue? Because I don't think high left Purdue.
Well, if Missouri's secondary has been so weak so far, and Jake Fromm is completing 80% of his passes, I look for the Bulldogs line to do it pretty much have the same game plan they did at South Carolina.
All right.
Run the football, wear down Missouri, and pull away the second half.
I look for Georgia to really attack Missouri on the edges in the run game with those massive tackles that Georgia has against the undersized defensive ends from Missouri. One defensive end is 225, the other is 265.
Clemson -16.5 at Georgia Tech.
Okay, so this game could be tricky because of Georgia Tech's offense. However, Georgia Tech has been dominated for the most part of this season, except for the South Florida game. They gave South Florida everything they wanted and then some, but their defense is terrible. Their defense hasn't stopped anybody yet.
Georgia Tech offense has problems. The defense is just in disarray. Paul Johnson, I don't know what he can do in a week that can get them ready for this Clemson team. Even though it's in Atlanta, Clemson sees the option. They prepare for it year round. They don't get ready for it in 1 week. So They know it in and out. That defensive line will control the game, and it's going to be a long day on the Plains.
Only thing in Georgia's favor, only thing in Georgia Tech's favor though, is it's hard to prepare for cut blocking. I don't care how much you practice it. When a team that does it well does it to you, it's a problem. And hopefully that can help neutralize some of that defensive line play. Because once you get on the second level of Clemson's defense, that can be gaps. That can be lapses.
If Georgia Tech not able to establish any kind of passing game, it's going to be lights out.
Right.
Florida -4.5 at Tennessee.
I'm not interested in this game at all. I think both teams are terrible. Both teams are in rebuild mode right now. And it could be a good game. I mean, it's an SEC game, 2 SEC teams, but I've yet to see it from either one.
Both teams, although their record That said, they could still be a spoiler in the SEC East. They both have to play. Whoever wins the East is going to have to play both of these teams.
That's true.
And on any given Saturday, any one of these teams can step up and beat you. So it is a big game and a night game at Neyland Stadium. But the SEC East showdown, both teams struggling. I like Tennessee to pull it off at home.
I like Tennessee to get at home.
And I think that's about wraps it up for this week.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's all I had.
But not a lot of big games on the schedule this week.
I bet
We will discuss one NFL game.
Who's that?
The New Orleans Saints are coming to the Georgia Dome. Well, the new Mercedes-Benz Gillette Stadium, the new dome.
The new dome.
In Atlanta, and they take on the Dirty Birds. Who you like?
Okay, so Atlanta probably has the better team. But with Steve Sarkisian as offensive coordinator, I can't bet with Atlanta. I don't trust him as offensive coordinator. When Julio Jones has 100 and something yards catching and only one red zone target, that's a problem. I can't trust that. I'm going with Sean Payton and Drew Brees just because Steve Sarkisian is the offensive coordinator.
I like Drew Brees. Drew Brees is always one of the premier quarterbacks in the league, and he's seen it all. He will get it done. If he has the ball last, he probably can march down the field and get a field goal or a touchdown if that's what they need. I look for Atlanta to pull it out though at home, build a little momentum before they have to head on the road.
Oh, one more thing about that game though. Keanu Neal is out for the season.
Yeah, I know.
That's a big loss.
It is.
That's going to be a big problem, especially with Ivan Kamara. Ivan Kamara is going to be a problem, especially back at home in Georgia where he's from. You know you're going to show out.
The Saints are always going to score points. It don't matter who's in there.
Sure.
Atlanta, as long as Atlanta can score points, that's where the game going to be won at. It's the Atlanta offense against the Saints defense.
And you have confidence in Steve Sarkisian to get that done.
I got confidence in the talent that they have there to beat the Saints.
A lot of talent, though. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of talent. It's just doing the right thing with that talent.
We will see. And we'll catch you next week on
4th and Inches.
4th and Inches.
I don't talk to them. I don't talk to them boys that settle in benches for. I was in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. Put me in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. And I'ma